Okay, my name is James Williams Jr. This is Compact number two. This subject is very, very serious. For once, I'm actually going to say that this is for children because this affects children. And this affects everyone else. Everyone. So I will try to keep my language down to a PG-13. You may hear a damn here and there. And I'm sorry. Let me get that out the way right now. But I don't mean to cuss, but the subject that matters that I'm talking about is going to make all of you think and make you wonder, and I'm going to hit you up with the whole 1000. Alright? And you're not going to like it. So let us begin. First and foremost, yesterday I was watching the news, and I was watching Entertainment Tonight and Inside Edition, and those nightly news with Lester Holt. I'm probably not saying none of these shows right. Also on the local news. The day before, same subject. So apparently there's this video game out called Active Shooter, where you get to either play the cops or you get to play as the kids just running around through high school or college or whatever the fuck it is. I'm sorry, that was a grown ass word that I probably shouldn't have said. But whatever it is, they're shooting up people. Alright, if you don't know anybody in your family that hasn't been shot or that has been shot, then you pretty much confirm that this game probably shouldn't be released in big quantities or if at all. I play games. I play Mass Effect Andromeda. Sometimes I play it online. And although I'm shooting aliens at 44 years old, I know right from wrong. And I know that this game is wrong on so many levels. We just had two school shootings almost back to back. Basically, they were back to back. One in Texas and one in Indiana. And the one before that in Florida on Valentine's Day. So why in the blue hell would anybody want to come up with a video game where you're first person for one and you're shooting students and teachers? And on the other spectrum, you're the FBI, DEA, FBI, F whatever the hell, active cop on duty that's going in to shoot the active shooter. Now, I'm okay with games. I'm not going to knock games except for this game. But first and foremost, let's keep this real. Violent video games under a control spectrum does not teach your children to go to school and be violent. Even GTA has a moniker of please don't try this at home, and most video games do that. They also have a rating system. I'll explain that. Both of these have M for mature. See that M right there? This is Resident Evil Revelations. It has an M on there. It has blood and gore, intense violence, and language. Language which I just used not too long, by the way. This is Mass Effect Andromeda. It has an M there. It has blood, nudity, strong language, sexual content, and violence. If you are a parent and you are buying these, the first thing you need to do when you go into these stores like GameStop or EB Games that no longer exist because GameStop bought them out, but any other store that sells games is to ask for that rating on that game. Go over to the box, see the game as does this thing have a rating? Can I see the rating? Because if you don't want your kid playing anything outside of Sonic and Mario, which is not violent, by the way, unless you count Mario jumping on the head of a turtle as violence, then it's not violent. If you count Sonic stealing all of the guy's rings and making that funny noise and speeding through everything, not violent. It's not violent. It's mediocre violent, but it's not violent. Where Sonic ain't never pulled out a machine gun and shot the shit out of people. Okay? And neither has Tails, or Amy, or Shadow, or whoever the hell else on there that I can't remember. But those four I remember because of the cartoon. Now, in Mass Effect, again, if you're playing online, you have a team of people and you're going around, but it's a game where you're killing aliens and you're still taking lives, but it's aliens and you're trying to save your world or rescue some people or stuff like that. That does not change the fact that it is violence being that I just read that on the control box in which the game comes in. Video games have been taking the heat for causing mass destruction amongst youth and killers and stuff like that. And, when you think about it, a video game cannot put a gun to your child's head and say, you're going to go to school tomorrow and create mass shootings. Okay? You cannot hold a video game responsible for anybody's actions. You cannot hold violence in TV responsible for anybody's action. As a independent filmmaker slash actor slash producer slash all the hats that I have to wear, I know the difference. All right, when you're making a movie, precautions are taken so that people are not hurt. When you're making a movie or you're writing a script, when you're doing things, you put all these things into consideration, so that people don't get hurt. And that way people don't lose their lives in the attempt of making the movie from paper to screen. Now, that being said, this violent video game that's coming out called Active Shooter, there's no reason on earth that this game should be released. There's no reason on earth this game should be released. Now, I'm not against games. And maybe if it wasn't about people going around shooting people at school, or you being an active duty officer trying to find the person shooting people at school and bringing them down, I'm trying to put this as polite as possible. I don't have nothing against the guys that made the game, but I do have to give them a bit, what the hell are you thinking? That's kind of not the thing you want to do, because even GTA, you don't go into schools and shoot people. GTA has been knocked as one of the world's most violent games. Same with Call of Duty, same with Medal of Honor, which is basically the same thing, but these games are wartime games. And there's a difference when there's a wartime game than when it's something else. Alright? Now, I'm pretty sure you guys have all played Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell or Siphon Filter or some things like that. Yeah, I'm throwing it way back. But those games are basically role-playing games with missions to basically save the Earth. And they do opt in some of those games where you can actually put people to sleep in a chokehold instead of blowing their damn brains out. However, this game, Active Shooter, that's a no-go, man. I respect you guys for making the game, but your thought process probably needs to be re-educated, because the first thing that happens is someone plays this game, and then they're going to get the idea of going out to shoot. It's going to be all over the media. Now, I'm not saying the game will be held responsible for that. I'm saying the timing of this game is just bad. It's really bad. We just basically had 3 school shootings in 2018. Valentine's Day Massacre, Texas, and Indiana. These just happened a few months apart. Indiana was last week, and Texas was like the week before. We have to raise our children right. Alright? We have to teach our children that the video game world and the real world don't work in the same principle. When you take a life, that's it. Now, if that person's time isn't up and they are saved and they get medical treatment, their lives will still never be the same. And neither will yours, because you'll probably be doing the rest of your life in prison, where you would probably belong because you decided to take a machine gun of some sort or any weapon of mass destruction to school to snuff out people. Now, I made a video a few days back about this shit, about how we have to teach our sons how to take no from girls and not feel like, oh, my manhood's been cut off, so now I gotta go shoot down every damn body to feel good. Here's the thing. We have to teach our children properly. Period. We have to. Because if we don't, the world is never going to change. My generation and Generation Xers alike probably all feel the same way. Because when I was coming up, a lot of other incidences happened during my youth where they tried to blame violence on TV and video games and movies for the actions of kids and shit. As I got older and The Matrix came out a few years back, when it first came out, apparently some kid in some unknown state, unknown city, thought that his parents was Asians, and he killed them with a handgun or an M4 or some shit. I don't remember. It's somewhere in the news somewhere. I remember reading about it. I remember hearing it. I just don't remember where I read it and where I heard it. But I did hear it, that he thought his parents was Asians and that he was living in the Matrix. So again, we have to tell our children the difference between reality, fiction, and non-fiction. You understand? Hopefully this video has made its point, and if it hasn't, then I'm sorry. As far as the game Active Shooter is called or concerned for me, I do not support that shit. No, I don't think anybody should probably support that shit. And if the game does release and if the game does sell, then here's my suggestion as I close out. You guys who made the game need to give every damn dime of the proceeds to the school in Florida, to the school in Indiana, to the school in Texas. It would only be right because there are going to be people, and I don't give a damn what this video says or does to anybody, there are always going to be people who are going to buy games. That game comes out, there's going to be no exception to it. And also, if that game comes out, you better not sell it to anybody under the age of 25. Period. Because by the time you're 25, you should have your fucking head on straight. Okay? Straight up and down. If this game is released, and I'm sure that millions and millions of petitions that people are signing, I don't know how to sign it, so I can't. But if I could, I would. Anyway, if this game is released, you must not sell it to anybody under the age of 25. It must not be sold to any school-age person. It must stay out of the reach of school-age children. So I'd advise you to put a stamp of under 25, no sale. And if you're over 25 and you have children, don't even buy it. Don't even bring it to your house. And if you do buy it and bring it to your house, then you need to lock that shit in a gun cabinet. And don't let the kids see you play it. Enough said. We can work things out, but this thing's going to cost one hellacious CF in the world. And a lot of people are going to get hurt or are going to believe the things they see in video games, and we have to make the difference. I don't think the game should be released to anybody under the age of 25. If we can't stop the release, then at least put a block on it for age restriction. And if you can't do that, then at least try to explain to people that it is a game. And that they need to understand that in the game world, it's okay. In the real world, murder is not okay on any level outside of self-defense. I'm James Williams Jr. This is Kung Fu Epic number 2. If I've upset you or pissed you off in the last 12 minutes of your life, then I apologize. However, I meant every word. Be seeing you.